Hi, and welcome to Love Club.
Hi, and welcome to Love Club. We're so happy to be here with each other and for everyone.
Yes, you are.
So,
I'm Lianna.
yeah, so you go first.
I'm Lianna Nielsen. That is the beautiful.
Hi, I'm Alli Caudle. Flashback to slating. Yeah, so Lianna had a really good idea today, and she suggested that we walk through and introduce ourselves so that everyone can get to know who we are, what our backgrounds are, how we got here, and why we're so passionate about speaking on the subject of spirituality, health, wellness, and love.
And love. Before we get into it, you have to introduce your friend in the back there.
This is Sharon. She's going to be sitting in on our session today. It's on a lamp found in our frame today.
I mean, we love her. We just love her.
We love Zoom life. We love Zoom life. Well, okay. I'm going to start with asking you a few questions.
Okay.
Just so our friends can get to know my best friend in the entire universe, my business partner, someone that I have created with and studied with and practiced with. So, Lianna, where are you from? Where have you been? How did you get here to today in a, what do we call it, abbreviated life history?
Oh, yes. I grew up in a little town in the woods in Maine, and I'm here right now because of pandemic, so it's a full circle moment for me. I went to college in DC. I thought I wanted to be a journalist. Turns out I liked being on camera, but I wanted to be a whole lot sillier. So after college, I ended up studying acting at a conservatory in New York City and bartending and running around just being a crazy 20-something-year-old. And I would say one of the first, what I thought was going to be big projects I ever booked was a horror movie with Alli. And that's what we met. It was so much fun. We shot on this private island. It was totally bonkers. And didn't turn into anything, but he definitely sat us down. Do you remember? And he was like, this is going to be your big break. So like, be prepared to be famous.
I mean, we're so young.
Never listen. People, especially you actors out there, never listen when they tell you that, especially if it has sex involved. Luckily, it did not for us, but
it didn't. It had murder.
Someone else.
Fine with a light fictional murder.
Light murder. We're into light murder. So I was acting, bartending, just kind of had a crazy hectic schedule. And towards my mid to late 20s, I started to get sick with an autoimmune disease that was undiagnosable. I had all these like conflicting symptoms. My hair was falling out, my period stopped, my intestines were bleeding, I'd gained weight, my skin was having all these issues. Like it was like, you name it, it was happening. And I was seeing all these doctors, no one could help me. I ended up finding a book called The Microbiome Diet and learning all about your gut health and your microbiome and just giving this doctor's protocol a shot. And it completely changed my life. I had no idea my anxiety and depression, which I'd been dealing with since college, was totally related to what I was eating in my gut. Like all of the symptoms, everything that was going on was related to this, and no one could tell. No one was even talking about it. So after this healing protocol, I was so inspired that I ended up going to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, which was the only place at the time that was even talking about the microbiome. I wanted to become a nutritionist. That was like not an option for what I wanted to study. And it completely transformed my life, really opened up spirituality to me in a different way. I started meditating more, which really helped my healing journey. And I was still acting, and it was cool. I was lecturing and teaching nutrition at an acting conservatory, a different one in New York. I was guest lecturing at NYU. I was doing podcasts. I was talking to a lot of artists and just creatives in general about how what you eat affects your brain and how you feel and how you function in the world. And then, and Alli and I feel like maybe, I don't know, our stories are so intertwined that I kind of want you to kind of tell your background before I keep going. So
into that moment, that chapter.
Yes, please. So tell us a little bit about you before I go into my next chapter.
Okay. All right. So I was born and raised in Texas, Dallas, Lubbock, a ranch. I come from a very spiritual family. Like, we're very much about nature, and they're religious. I'm not, but we very much like have common language around that. So that was important when we were growing up. And then I ended up, like, where do I even? So I went to Texas Tech University. I got 3 majors in international business, PR, and Spanish liberal arts. I graduated early. I was in Barcelona for a while. That's where I met my best friends in the world. They were all moving to New York. So when I was 21 years old, I also moved to New York. I started working in fashion at Christian Dior, doing PR for them. Then I went to a magazine called Bullet Magazine, and I was their event manager, and I was a fashion editor. And then the magazine fell apart, so then I started waiting tables, and I started going on a spiritual journey about what my purpose was and why I was in New York and what I truly wanted. And I decided to become an actress, and so I started waiting tables for the first time in my life. And I went to an acting conservatory in New York City as well for a year and a half, called Michael Howard Studios. And then I started writing screenplays. And then, you know, the whole acting journey is what really opened me up to another level of awareness in terms of listening. I feel like I didn't actually know how to listen until acting school. And then you get into that space of where it's like radio silent while someone's speaking. And I think that's the greatest gift I walked away with in terms of that. In terms of screenwriting, I feel like you have to know how to be disciplined, how to channel properly. So that got me into channeling, because I believe that the most powerful writing is from listening, not from your ego. So like that was its whole own journey. And then writing got me to Los Angeles, and broke up with a long-term boyfriend when I got here and got really spiritual. I started working with psychics and mediums and energy healers, and I got trained in Reiki and meditation and breath work and yoga, and I dedicated my entire life to that for 2 years. And then I went back to school because one of Lianna's closest friends in LA was working with a life coach, and then she put me in touch with her. She referred me into this incredible program. So I studied with Dr. David Kruger in this 8-month like neuroscience, psychology, quantum physics certification course. Did that, and then here we are today. And then I just like ran events, and I've continued to be spiritual. Lianna and I both worked for a company for a while called Human Being Store, where we were both guides, which also entailed a 6-month practicum training program before you started to practice. So we've worked with CEOs, we've worked with organizations, we've worked with individuals through that school of thought. And then, you know, a lot of things shifted in the last year, obviously, for all of us. And Lianna decided to begin our journey together, since we have very common language and beliefs. So
yeah,
you.
well, it was so interesting. I think one of the most fun things is, like, after we met, I was in the process of writing and producing my own feature film. And I remember we were at a dinner, and it was like we had this other friend, Cameron, and you guys were like, wait, you just like wrote a movie? I was like, yeah, I don't know. We're just like making a movie.
And then you were like, and I'm producing it. You're like, I'm also the producer, because Lianna also worked on Wall Street. So like, she's not dumb.
I did. That was my first job out of college. I worked at a hedge fund before I decided. Well, I always knew I wanted to be an actor, but I like didn't think it was okay. So I like secretly moved here and got a hedge fund job, and that was like taking acting classes at night just for fun, which lasted like a minute. And then I was like, fuck that shit. I'm like, no finance. But anyway, after that, and so Alli was in my first movie that I ever made. She like had a cameo role that, again, another movie that never went anywhere. How many of those have we been in? And then you wrote when you started writing shortly thereafter that, and then you wrote a very cute film.
Because you wrote a film, I was like, yeah, me too. We know how to do this. So I wrote a short film called Spicy Tuna that Lianna was in. So she was one of my like stars of that.
It was so fun.
We did
Well,
that.
the most amazing thing though about that, it was like I wrote a movie. You're like, oh, we can write movies now, and then you went on to like sell a screenplay in Hollywood.
No, I didn't. I was so close to selling a screenplay in Hollywood. I worked in Hollywood for a year under like a negotiated, contract situation where I couldn't, but at the last minute, the film got too big for britches a bit. It was like, Dante's Inferno on a cruise ship for Moms from Manhattan. Like, we can't make that for less than $18 million. So it stopped, which was such an interesting process of being a full creator at that age and then stopping. I stopped cold turkey. I didn't touch art for a while, and I went back to school, and I like got into work because I realized I really wanted to learn how to take care of myself. And I really wanted to learn how to like evolve past being a server. Being a server and a bartender was great for us, but like there was an age that I personally reached where I wanted to expand my skills and knowledge and expertise. So then that took a while, and then all of a sudden 2020 happens and we start allowing the creative forces to come back in. But I feel like that's being alive is being creative. But I did have trauma from that, so that was interesting.
Yeah, that was something you had to work through. But basically, we kept we had such a fun time collaborating on every movie experience. Whenever I was in New York, when she was in LA, we'd see each other. And it was like we'd always really love, this reading the same things, studying the same things, talking about the same things. And it was like, how can we come together and do this in a way that not only can we continue to learn and grow, and because we both, started seeing clients, we both had our own businesses. She was life coaching, I was health coaching. Then through Human Being Store, we really, it changed both of our lives very drastically in beautiful ways. But essentially, it's sort of like leadership and development coaching with a spiritual bent. But
explain what we learned at Human Being Store.
Well, it just gets you really grounded in your body and really connected to your purpose in a really deep, deep way. And the coolest thing, I think the most interesting thing about it for me was, and it was funny because we studied under this woman who was so incredibly brilliant, in my opinion. She's very bright. But you got to this point where like she had trained you so well that like you didn't want to listen to you don't need advice from anyone else. Like you are so tuned into your inner knowing, to your intuition, whatever you want to call it, that you don't need anyone else to give you advice. Like maybe you need to talk things out, or maybe you want to vent a little. But it was so interesting. It was the first time in my life it was like, oh, I don't need to trust anyone else's opinion outside of mine. And then it opened me up so much more into my own practice, because it allowed me, because I had a lot of fear around using my voice creatively, especially because of my own, childhood trauma stuff that I had worked through. And getting really connected and centered to my own voice and my specific gifts. Like once you open up to that, it's like whoosh, everything kind of comes out and it's easier to flow. So through that work together, we, had a common language. There was sort of a structure that we understood, that we liked. And though there were a lot of great things about it, you and I come from a much more creative, laid back, heart-centric place where we lead with love and joy. And that company was amazing, but it was a lot more geared towards like corporate America and, where do you fit in within a company, where you and I were like, we want to use these tools to help people like grow and connect to their passions and find their loves and heal their bodies, because that's what our backgrounds are in. So it was like, we needed to get out of that. And it's like, well, how do we use these amazing tools for good? And what do we care about? And it's like, getting people feeling their very best, like excited about what they're doing and able to attract in community and love that sort of mirrors them and allows them to grow and become who they want to be. So that's what we're trying to do here. That's exactly the tools you're going to get if you're watching these videos.
Right. And we're trying to, we've started writing a book so that everyone can have a little outline, because we want everyone, we have so many tools and our tools are a little different. Like Lianna is so well versed in nutrition. I just like, it's incredible. I've worked with her. She's been my coach. We like fully have gotten to the point where I was like, now I need you to help me. And I like paid her for a service and she coached me through it. And the results were so incredibly transformative that like now I can speak on such a personal level to her work in a different way. So that's really cool. For me, I think what I learned at Human Being Store and through the guidance, like Lianna said, was that inner knowing and that connection and that purpose and getting so clear about that, being able to communicate it and to live it. And we used the word at that institution, gift, which actually is from Deepak Chopra. Deepak Chopra really refers to the gift as being this core self. So that's an interchangeable definition. But once you're connected to your core self and you wake up every day and you do your rituals to make sure that you're honoring that, you go through this day with such this flow and this alignment, and it takes time. It is a practice. None of these results that Lianna and I have achieved came overnight, except for a couple. But it's like, it just depends. But I think for me, I wanted to really take what I learned and my gift, which was so obscure and was very challenging for me to wrap my head around what it was, which made sense that I had never really connected to my purpose and been fully living it and embodying it. Mm-hmm. That I wanted to take those skills and I wanted to like run companies. I wanted to become an executive. I wanted to make money, because something I studied with my life coaching certification doctor was like money psychology. So then practicing money psychology along with my own personal development and connection with my gift was what I have been focused on. So now I've done that. So now I'm like a creative director. I'm freelance. I make my own hours. Like I only work 4 to 5 hours a day. I do whatever I want. I'm so happy. I'm also got my real estate license, like running empires in Texas. Like it's so fun. And it's not effortless by any means, but it's harmonious, because then you get to continue to focus on these things that also bring you so much joy and love, without like art and psychology and us starting this company together and like pouring our love into it without stress and without pressure, and just being able to like really be present with that. Anything that you
want to it's really amazing. Well, it's amazing to sort of each have these different backgrounds, but then have a shared set of tools. And we kind of do a lot of the same development work. We read the same things. We're sort of trying to move in the same direction. So we have stuff in common to talk about, and we're interested in the same things anyway. And lately that's sort of been neuroscience and, neuro reprogramming of like past trauma and all of that stuff. But in a way to really get clear about, get really healthy and get really clear about our stories and what's going on the inside, so our outsides can reflect, exactly what we want. Right. And it's been so beautiful to be on this journey with you and watch your transformation in the past like 2 years alone. And it's just so fun. And I do this with my clients as well, to pay attention to this. But Alli can manifest like no one, like the amount of abundance and now just in general manifestation, when you put your mind to it, that you can do. And we both study human design. We're into it. She's a manifestor and I'm a reflector, which are very interesting. And we'll definitely go into more of that one day. But as a manifestor, literally she's like, I want this, it appears. And it's pretty fun to watch.
The case until this year. And I think it was partnering with you and taking our friendship to the next level. But let me also take a 5-second moment to say your transformation. What? Like she has so gracefully and consciously uncoupled from her first marriage with so much love and friendship and kindness and communication. Like I could cry right now.
I know, right? You made me
so inspiring to watch how she's held her head up high and continue to just do the work. And one day I looked at Lianna, I was like, what's the work? And she defined it for me as meditation, nutrition, sleep health, our relationships. And that was like the day that we just realized we want to offer this to everyone. We want everyone to be able to be in a place, because we all get to these ruts, to be able to know how to physically get out of them without beating our heads against the wall. Like it all starts from inside. Nothing is coming from the outside. But watching Lianna go through her, her separation, and she moved to LA from New York for the first time in like 20,000 years. She moved out of New York, and then she just like has this thriving company with clients, and now like family members and friends are reaching out to me, and it's just like feels so good to put them in touch and then them have their own results. You're magic. You're my house doctor. You're hot.
Well, it's been really fun to explore our partnership and what we're doing, because what I started to notice, like I got into health coaching because of my health and through nutrition. But on my own personal journey, what ends up happening is the more you start to heal your body, and truly so much of it is because there was no one that was able to help me. I had to try different things and then just cultivate this deeper sense of listening, cultivate my intuitive knowing with healing, which again, I was in my 20s, like I just had no other options other than like feeling really sick and taking really incredibly serious steroids that were going to have horrible side effects. So when you develop this deeper sense of listening, what happens is you're not only listening to the voice that's like, don't eat cheese anymore and go to bed. You're listening to the voice that's like, is this the right person for you? Is this the right job for you? Wait, follow that intuitive hit that like makes you want to go to the library and or the bookstore and grab that book off the bottom shelf, or DM that girl on Instagram, or talk to that girl in the audition room. And it was like, it's been one of those really interesting journeys. So cultivating the other side of it through Human Beings, through our work together, through your work, has been fabulous. So now what I do and what we do, but what I specifically do with my practice is I teach people how to listen to themselves. And it's so cool. And again, this goes back to the gift. This goes back to the Human Being Store connection. It's not so different. It's just I do it through a physical approach, where we have also more mental, spiritual approaches you can go with. But you get these people, so many people come to me not feeling well, and anytime you don't feel well, there's just a disconnection from self, whether it's a relationship, whether it's your job, whether it's your bank account, whether it's your health. You are unhappy, there's a disconnection from your true self. So what the tools you will get here from me, and especially at Human Being Store, well, there too. Actually, you could go there, especially if you want gifts.
Especially if you're a group leader.
Yes, if you want tools, especially in a corporate environment, definitely go there. But what you'll get from Love Club is, a better understanding and tools like how to feel better in your body, how to, understand your purpose and feel better at work, how to call in and understand how to be in healthier relationships with, romantic partners, community friends, all of those other things. And like a million other things, but like literally like meditation tools, writing tools. We do a lot of stuff with like positive mindset, eating, and the thing is, and when we talked about, when she mentioned the work before, it's the work is so holistic. And that's where I started to like what I studied and what my experience with my own personal healing journey was, it's like health is just not in a box of like exercise and like calorie counting. Like health is everything. So if you want your life to sort of effortlessly flow and work, you have to look at all the parts. And there's one of my favorite things I learned from IIN was the idea of primary foods. And your primary foods are your relationships, your career, spirituality, and exercise. And if those are out of balance, so again, that's, your purpose, how you, connect to other people, how you connect to your body, and then what you feel like, your relationship is with your existence, whatever those are. If those are out of balance, it tends to manifest itself in a secondary food craving, an addiction, an illness, any of those things. So these are just symptoms of disconnection. So what we're trying to do is give you different areas and different tools where you can reconnect. And once you connect in one area, it's easier to connect in all other areas. And then your life starts to flow, which is like what we're seeing with you. Absolutely. I feel like this month, but like this fall, like, I don't know. It's so exciting watching your journey.
Oh, thank you, my love. Likewise. It's my favorite journey to watch. I just wanted to say, yes, like it is, what Lianna and I offer is essentially a holistic human connection, because you cannot connect to your expression of self through work or joy or love or friendship, whatever it is, to others until you are connected to yourself. And what does that mean? I feel like we can say that all day long and people don't understand what it means. And it essentially comes down to listening to your inner knowing that it is just coming straight from the source. You hear it, you feel it, you know it, you move on, you let go. You're not so grippy, clingy, so upset. Like, it's just, it's embodying a lighter way of being. And in that state, it is truly love. Because if you are connected to yourself and loving yourself because you can hear yourself, then you're going to be able to fully put it out there. So,
and trust is the other component that I feel like I do a lot of work with, that we do a lot of work with. It's like, you get the knowing, because I think we all have those intuitive hits where you feel like a flutter in your heart, or a kick in your gut or something. And we're trained, especially in this culture, to go outside of ourselves.
yeah.
If you can't get the answer here, ruminate, anxiety, go in circles, and then, call your mom, call your doctor, turn on the TV, like take a pill, like someone else knows. And it's like, absolutely not. Like, listen, get quiet, really listen to those intuitive moments, to however you hear your information, because everyone gets it differently. But then the next step is to trust that you know. And you are truly the only one that knows what's best for your body, what's best for you in a relationship, what your purpose is. And the thing is, like, one part's listening, the other part's trusting, and then finally, like, moving the direction of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we will be giving you tools. And we think, like, this should be free. Everyone should feel good, so we want to be giving you these tools so you can experiment with your own life, because health should be universal, and being able to be connected to that best part of yourself and see the beauty in who you are is so incredibly important. We should all have it, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful
once you're
thing.
in that space, then you're technically connected to Leon. This is our language. We learned this, we studied this, we were trained to do this, so I will continue to until we change it. But when you're connected to your gift and you're living in your gift, and then you work alongside, like Lianna, for example, who is connected to her gift and living in her gift. And that doesn't mean that you don't come up against challenges every day of being disconnected, because we're in such a busy, complicated, loud world. But once you're in that, then you know how to shine light on each other. So you know how to hold space, even if it's for someone, your server at a restaurant, or your best friend, or your husband, or your child, or a teacher, whatever. Once you can connect to your gift and you know what that means, and you can shine it out and you're expressing it, then those people around you can start to pick up on that vibration, and then they start to see their own light. And let me tell you, I really don't know what else is more special in this universe than that, is to have someone just start to, like, wake up and see a little light.
Oh my God. It's my favorite thing when you watch someone realize how wonderful they are.
Exactly.
I know it sounds gross.
That's what I was trying to say.
It like literally, well, it was so funny.
I have full body chills. I could cry.
No, literally and like, I did stand up. I've been on red carpets at Sundance. Like, I've had moments where it's like, nothing is better than this. People are shouting my name. Like, this is so great.
All right.
No, watching someone rediscover the beauty of their humanity is just, I want to see that. I want to be privy to it. Like, I want to be in that moment with you for the rest of your life, because there is nothing more beautiful and more captivating, and we all have it in us. And
everyone has a unique gift. Everyone has come here with something completely different. We are all snowflakes, but like, no one has the same gift to offer, and you came here with that inner knowing, that authentic self, to express it. So if you're starting to express it, even in baby steps, because Lianna, I mean, like, I'll speak for myself. I guess it's been like probably 4 years since I've been like fully in this. Mm-hmm. So it's not like we just started this last night, like, and it takes time. But once you're in it and you're alive and you're activated I remember, I'm going to sidetrack. I had a client who was the polar opposite of me in terms of our Myers-Briggs, like an engineer from another country with a very different culture, who had, like, didn't even understand what physical touch was about. And after our third session, he broke down crying and said that he finally knew what it was like to love himself. And I'll never forget that moment because I was like, honestly, if this is all I get out of like all of the training and humans and money I have spent in trying to understand this for myself, because I was hurting, I was lost, I wanted to know like what I had to offer and why it mattered. And then you have those moments, it's just like Lianna said, it's like, I hung up that day. I was just like, I could retire now.
No, we're here because we love this work, because it's worked for us, because we see it work in each other.
Yeah.
And it's just like that. I don't know. I truly feel like life is here. Like we're here to like have joy and to love each other. Like that's what I feel like life is about. And these are the tools that I think help people do that the most. There's so much suffering. You know, it's so easy to, you know, be in your head, be outside of yourself, you know, be so busy. And like the pandemic, one of the beautiful things about the pandemic, and there were a lot of shitty things, but one of the beautiful things was the slowing down of everything and the quiet. And, you know, I think it has afforded a lot of people an opportunity to connect with themselves in a different way, or to get clear about relationships or situations or jobs that weren't right for them or whatever. But, you know, we love this work so much that we just want to talk about it all the time. And we want to share it with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, we both privately coach people. So of course, if any of this resonates or either one of us resonates,
and honestly,
reach out. But both, we're just here to kind of share and have a party and like give you tools and get, because this is stuff that everyone has access to. And again, and I want to, before we wrap things up, talk about, you know, like what are your one or two of your favorite like tiny little tools that you use on a day-to-day basis specific to you to get you more connected. And like the cool thing is like the stuff is free. It's free. Like none of the tools I do.
I've been coaching through pandemic for free because I had taken 7 months off coaching and was just working. And when pandemic happened, I couldn't wait. I was like, thank God I get to do this again. So it, like I do it for free just because like we all need it wherever we find it. Sorry, a bed just broke. I just want to say one more thing before I share my tools. And after just being a professional creative of just being an actress and a writer, I really didn't know how to land on the earth and work. I didn't understand how to go to a job from 9 to 5. I had done that when I was like 21 to 2, and it gave me migraines. So I was like, I don't know how to do this. Like, how am I going to figure it out? And once you get connected to your gift and you learn how to realize that your work is an expression of your gift and how work is joy. And that was a huge shift for me. And that's something that I'm going to want to work on with people too, because now I get so excited about Monday morning. Like I love Monday morning more than anything except Friday mornings with Lianna. And it's like I never thought I'd be in this place where like I love like managing my own money. I have my own accounting appointments with myself. I love emailing. I love phone calls. I love projects. I love spreadsheets. And I never thought I would say any of these things. So that's another side effect of this, is to realize like your work is your joy and your work is your love. But if you're feeling separated from that, then we have work to do. But so 2 of my favorite tools, one of them is very intimate.
Do it.
So, but I'll share it.
Tell us.
Intimate, y'all. So my friend Whitney Ullum is a sex coach, and this May she did a sexual empowerment course for women, and it was 6 weeks, and we had modules, we had homework, we had bi-weekly calls. Like I signed up for a class with her and I did it, and she taught me something called microcosmic orbit breath work. That's a lot to swallow, where you breathe.
Ooh, she's important.
And guess what? It's a spam call. I don't have my phone on me. I don't even.
Rude! Oh no.
I hate spam. Okay. Well, that wasn't the universe interfering for a split second. I don't know what it is. Okay, so it's called microcosmic orbit breathwork, and you work through each of your chakras with pleasure that comes from your own self-pleasure practice. So the vibration and the physical feeling of pleasure coming up in your pussy is the word she uses. then you use that to deconstruct trauma that is in your DNA, tissue, cells, and muscles in those specific chakras. So you do that, and then I've combined another layer of adding the 7 core chakra mantras. So Ram, Vam, Ram, Yam, Ham, Sham, and Om. And so while you're working, I say each mantra 3 times on each chakra as you do the microcosmic orbit breath work. So you start in your root, you do it 3 times, you start in your second, and then your third, and your fourth, and then all of a sudden you get to the crown, and you just have the physical sensation of pleasure all over your body. And that's how I've started to manifest, because then while I'm doing that, I'm also saying my personal mantras so that my body can feel so much joy and pleasure while I'm reaffirming the positive. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I do that every single day when I wake up, except maybe twice. I probably do it 5 days a week.
And that's advanced.
That's advanced.
You don't have to start there.
So
you don't have to start there.
That's what I do.
If you're not a meditator, we'll get you into it, but that's amazing.
My other tool is I work with Lianna now as a health coach. So, we do the 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time, I'm literally not eating sugar, not drinking alcohol, like eating perfectly. And then 20% of the time I have a fucking nacho and a margarita and have the best time as well. So like, your turn. What are your 2 tools?
And that's her choice. That's what makes her feel good in her body. Not everyone has to do that.
Never.
But I know 80-20 is a big one for me as well. I love that.
What are your tools?
My tools, I am also a big meditator. I do it pretty much every day. Sometimes it's just a 20-minute in-out, like simple mantra, just in my body, just really trying to let go of like stress and anxiety, because I'm someone who runs a little bit anxious. And then I got this from Joe Dispenza's book that we're both reading that we love. I also do a chakra meditation where you go and you cultivate, in the beginning, you cultivate the most like beautiful, loving, joyful, feeling that you can come up with. And then you start at your base and you work your way through your chakras, just feeling this feeling and sort of not like kind of swirling energy through the chakra, but also in the energy around the chakra. So you go up through the chakras and then into your energy field around your body, just feeling these feelings. And then it's funny because I sort of do this is so funny that we both kind of do this, because there are certain mantras that sometimes I'll do that with. So the base is sort of like, it's safe for me to be here. The second one, I deserve pleasure. The third, talking about your power. I deserve love. My voice is necessary. I manifest what I desire. The information I need comes to me. So going through, and it's the same thing where it's like, either cultivating a really positive feeling in your body or, associating that with a mantra. And the idea, which I really loved with Becoming Supernatural, he talks about how we are all really accustomed to sort of more negative feelings, and to train yourself to sort of your baseline emotion be a little bit more positive. In either way, here what we're both saying is we're starting off our day intentionally, and you can do this in 1 or 2 minutes. Like, you don't have to spend a lot of time doing this.
It really takes.
You could do this. Yeah. With a few, even 2 minutes would be fine. We're like, you breathe in and out, and then you just think about the most loving, beautiful, whether it would be like, oh, the perfect job or the perfect person or the perfect scenario. One of the meditations I do is just my perfect, like, future family life in my home with my husband and my children. And I just feel that love, and I look at the ocean because we're in my office and my books that I've written are there and our book is there. And with these 2 little children, because apparently there's 2, and then this like amazing husband, and I just like feel all this love and this like warm light while like looking at the ocean. I'm like, that's a meditation I do that I invented. But it's like the idea of like spending a minute or 2 connecting to the breath, getting into the body, and just cultivating really beautiful feelings or really beautiful intentions. So I feel like that would be one. And the other is just getting physical in my body in any form, walking, running, yoga, bike riding, swimming, when I feel stuck, especially in a negative emotion. if I can spend 5, 10, 15 minutes like getting out of my brain, because as someone who, you know, I had a lot of anxiety for many years and was really stuck in my head. When I get there and when I cling to things, because I'm still working on letting go more, that's like one of the things I do, because I can cling to shit. When it's in here and I'm holding on to stuff, it's like, okay, I just gotta like change my breath, change my environment, change my heart rate. And usually I can like let go of what's around me. So, you know, cultivating some sort of breath awareness and sort of beautiful feeling awareness, doing some sort of breath or just like mantra-based meditation. And then also moving my body when I feel stuck in a bad thought pattern or emotion, like taking some time to like just move and work out.
I love
Those are, and again, those are free. Those are free
and
things that you can do. You
fun.
don't need anyone else to do
They're
them,
also
and they are fun.
They
So
feel
yeah,
good.
and so if any of that resonated, please give it a try. You know, again, we're telling you to exercise and like
I
breathe
gotta get to this
deeply.
office
So
where we're at, this home office situation. I gotta get there today. I gotta go. I gotta go close my eyes and get there.
but yeah.
What I'm leaving with today. My message today is close your eyes and get there.
Yeah, I love that.
Don't get outside yourself. Don't shoot for the moon. Just close your eyes and get there.
Yeah, I love it. Well, we love you and we love this work.
We love you.
Thanks
We love
for
this work.
watching.
I love you. I know you love me.
It's true.
I love you.
I love you. Thanks for
everyone.
watching.
Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week.